Key Biscayne Stories collects the history of our beautiful island. This is your host, Alejandro Cervali, and I am a certified Key Rat for many, many years and counting. Join me and you will get to know your neighbors and their love for this slice of paradise we call home. So stay tuned, relax, and enjoy these great Key Biscayne stories. Key Biscayne, Key Rats, welcome to another episode of Key Biscayne Stories. Today we have Andres Avello. Did I say that right? Avello.
Yes, perfect.
Thanks. He's a Key Biscayne resident for his entire life, 31 years. And he's the co-founder of PADL, which we get to see. For those that are watching, they can see the paddle on the back and the hat, of course. And very popular, very, very popular in the Key. And I look forward to hear the story. So, Andres, welcome on the show. Thank you for joining us.
No, thank you so much, Alejandro. I really appreciate it. I've heard a couple episodes already, so couldn't be happier to be featured here. Like I've told you before in our previous conversations, I mean, anything Key related, I'm happy to be a part of. So excited for you having us on here.
Thank you. So let's get your Key Biscayne story. So you said you were born in Baptist. You came down here. This is pre-podcast. He told me this. So 31 years, that's a long time.
Yeah, so I mean, I was born and raised here in Key Biscayne, and grew up with both of my co-founders in the company. We were the three best friends. I mean, we were fishing, diving, anything around the island. We knew every lobster hole that there was, and still to this day, we keep a couple secret ones. But coming around lobster season is something you got to keep as a prized treasure.
We just had a little mini season, right? A little mini one day.
Yeah, we had the mini lobster season, and we have the main season opening up now.
That's awesome. I have my friend Khouri Blanco. He and his buddies went out to catch some lobster, and they caught like 12 lobsters each, which is the max, right? 12.
Yeah.
And then there was a handful of them. So in total, I think it was like 60 lobsters. So
oh my God,
that was
that's amazing.
Quite the operation. And they started right at 12 at midnight when it starts. They went with the flashlights. I don't know if that's something that you do, but
yeah, so we've actually started doing that on paddle boards in the recent years, and it's been awesome because you can get into the grass flat and we just put a couple lights under the boards and we can spot them out crawling over the flat. So it's another great use of this equipment back here.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So tell us a little. I ask my guests about Key Biscayne closer to the end, but since you've been in the Key for so long, what is your favorite part of the Key Biscayne, would you say?
I love that it's surrounded by water. I mean, like I said, growing up here, we had inflatable dinghies that we would zip around the island far before we had cars. So, I mean, everything we did was water related. There's no better place to be. I mean, what I tell anybody that's looking towards Key Biscayne as a potential place to live or anything, I now have two kids, so there's no better place to be. By the time you're 10 years old, you're walking around the island by yourself. You're able to explore. You're able to do things with friends, family that you really can't do anywhere else. It's just the best place in my eyes.
And how would you describe for me a perfect weekend in Key Biscayne for you?
The perfect weekend is getting out on the boat one day and getting onto the beach the next
day. That's awesome. Yeah, no, getting on the boat is definitely nice. And when you get out there and the water is blue as it can be, is amazing.
Yeah, no, and I mean, even you look at this past weekend, we had days where you could have been in the Bahamas and you wouldn't have any different water clarity. It was just a perfect weekend.
Cool. So let's dive into paddle a little bit. Let's get that story. How did it all start? First, what is paddle? For those that don't know.
Definitely. So paddle is a self-service paddleboard rental platform. We have 11 different stations currently around Florida.
Yeah.
We're opening up another 11 this month and expanding out to North Carolina and Virginia, but Key Biscayne is where it all began. We actually built out our first station in one of our backyards, and my partner, Khalil Khouri, being an amazing engineer, his background's in robotics, really knows all the hardware, the software components. We were able to put together a prototype, and Once we got everything working and everything worked out well, we kicked off a pilot here with the city. And that really just opened it up. So, I mean, really our goal was just create accessibility on the water for a lot of people that live in apartments and or don't have a waterfront house. Having a kayak or a paddleboard is almost a nuisance. You have to put it on your car, you have to take it. You have an inflatable, it's going to take you 30 minutes to inflate it, another 30 minutes to deflate it, clean it. So what we wanted to do is provide a station very similar to City Bike or Lime, where you can quickly show up, unlock the board, use it. We have all the safety equipment provided and a couple of infographics on how to use the board, how to paddle. Really make it a fun environment and a fun experience for everybody that takes part. We have our location here in the beach park, and it's been unbelievable. I mean, I can't tell you enough as a startup what we've learned out of this location from our hometown. It's really positioned us for the future.
I am very happy that Key Biscayne adopted your project. Which was it? Was it a difficult process? Were they easy to adopt? Your
It was a learning process. None of us had ever had experience in dealing with municipalities, and obviously being local here, um, people are very friendly. People really want to adopt a local business and bring it into the island. Being founded in Key Biscayne, and also just continue on its trajectory. But it was definitely a learning process. We learned a lot between just what the legal navigation is, what the municipal navigation is that we've been able to replicate and now expand into other municipalities as well.
Was it easy to work with Key Biscayne? Did they adopt your project right away? Or did you have to
No, I
convince
mean
them a little bit?
it's not so much convincing. It's just showing that what you're doing is it's not a backyard project, that it's a true company, that you have the systems in place to really make sure that it's a good, safe operation. Make sure that you have the team in place to make sure it's a good operation. And we learned a lot about building our business based on these requirements that Key Biscayne had in place, which are very similar to the requirements that city of Miami or Miami-Dade County, state of Florida, basically all the other municipalities really have, to ensure that you have a fair, safe operation and new concessions coming out into the market.
And what was the inspiration behind it? What led to the creation of Paddle?
Definitely. So it was one of the pain points that we were having just as paddlers and water sportsmen. But when we saw Lime Bike pilot in Key Biscayne, I believe, was its first public operation, we immediately saw the ability to take that technology, adapt it, and make it suitable for water sports.
I mean, Lime Bike. I mean, I think the main difference between paddle and Lime Bike, I would say, is that you cannot leave your Lime Bike. I mean, you cannot leave your paddle anywhere, which was, I remember, a big issue with Lime Bike, is that you could just leave it wherever, and that was a no-go for some residents. But
no, of course, and we actually took that into consideration when developing everything. And I mean, we know that we operate sensitive marine environments and protected beachfronts, and just, I mean, you look at our beaches and it's the turtle nesting ground. So you have to make sure that everything that you have is very clean, orderly operation. And in order to do that, our boards come back to the station every time.
So the inspiration for the way the technology works and how you guys run the business came from Lime Bike, right? But why paddles?
I think it's because of our passion. We wanted to get out on the water, and we wanted to make a product that would solve the pain points that people currently have with large water sport equipment, such as paddleboards and kayaks. But when looking at the equipment that exists in the market, we started with paddleboards because it's something that people have an easier time carrying and maneuvering. Whereas a kayak, your standard kayak, can be anywhere between 55 to 65 pounds, and that's just too heavy for most people to carry on their own.
So I know you mentioned that you have a passion for the ocean, for water sports, So can you tell us a little more about the passion of why paddles, why the software, the technology, and the paddles?
Definitely. And it really comes from mine and my co-founder's love for the water. I mean, growing up on Key Biscayne and doing everything that we did growing up on the water, whether it was fishing, diving, kayaking, paddleboarding, just going out on the boat with the family, we always had a really strong passion for the water. And we saw paddleboards as a way to get people out on the water and have some of the same experiences. So I myself, I mean, I use paddleboarding to go fishing, to go lobstering, to really just get out there. Done laps around the island, friends, and I mean, just doing a circle around Key Biscayne on a paddleboard on a flat day. There's no better experience. You'll hit the corner around Bill Bags and you just see the lighthouse, amazing views. It's truly a nice experience in that aspect. But then the wildlife that you see, I mean, we have herds of manatees that go back and forth on the beach. You have tarpon that are constantly in the channel. You'll see sharks, you'll see turtles, and it's just a really unbelievable experience. And being able to share that with others and make the sport really as accessible as we have is our way of really allowing people to experience that. We've also just, I guess, getting involved with the paddling community with Manny Rion and Chico's Paddle Club.
Chico's
We see
Paddle
that a lot
Club.
of, yeah, so we see a lot of people that really love it, and seeing that passion and helping others get into the sport is also extremely helpful.
Awesome. How long would you say it takes to go around the key in a paddle?
We've done it in about 3.5 hours. That's if you're paddling, I mean, at a pretty decent pace.
3.5 hours sounds about right.
I would now. I would recommend that anybody doing that check the weather, make sure it's a flat day. The last thing you want to do is get caught downwind, because you're going to end up hopping on a seawall and trying to find a way to walk the paddleboard home.
I remember my friend Juan Van Hartz and I. He owns a tutoring G3 tutoring here in the Key, and we kayaked around the
Yeah.
around the Key, and it was like, it's not like we kayaked on a regular, right? And then we decided to go and do a lap around the Key. It was more like a personal mutual dare thing, let's do it. And it was quite the endeavor. We took 4 hours because we paused for 30 minutes by where the guy on the way out of the Key, where the guys where the fishing boats come, when they have this little station. I forget the name.
Yeah. By the charter boats.
By the charter boats right there. We there was a little beach there on the entrance where the boats come in to unload, and we paused there for like a good 30 minutes, and then it was tough. It was
You definitely feel it the next day.
And then in the paddle, you're standing. How stable is the paddle situation?
So they're incredibly stable. I mean, our boards, we when picking a board that we wanted to move forward with, we actually tested over 30 boards from different manufacturers, different types, and what we ended up finding was just the most stable, lightest board that we could find. When looking at quality of paddle boards, there's always kind of a trade-off between stability, durability, and weight. So we found the best mix of what we could at that time. Now we're actually improving and finding lighter boards with similar stability, similar durability, and just consistently improving our product.
That's awesome. I mean, it's I mentioned before when we were on the phone, it's awesome to see how you have been growing. We'll tap into that a little bit later about your growth. Before we do that, where is the paddle station in the Key?
That's a great question. So our station is located just south of the beach club at the Key Biscayne Beach Park. If you're facing the beach club from the beach, it's just to the left. And if you're facing it from the street, there's a little corner park with a fob you can actually get in that they give out at the community center.
That is true. If you are a Key Biscayne resident, you can send an email to the parks director, and they will give you 2 fobs so you can have access to the park.
Yep.
So walk me through the experience. I myself, having used it, I walked through that park. I walked from my house, do a little lap there all the way through Key Colony and back. So I see people getting the paddles, but I've never used it. So can you walk me through an experience from someone who hasn't done it?
Yeah, definitely. So if you don't have the app currently, best thing to do is download it beforehand and create your profile.
I'm going to download it now.
So it's PADL, paddle.
Yeah.
The best thing to do is create a profile, have the credit card information, so when you show up, you don't have to do all that on site. It's just ready to go. And from there, either you can subscribe to a membership beforehand or wait till you're going to check out. We have membership options as well as hourly payment options. So if you want to try it only for an hour, pricing is currently at $19 an hour.
Is that it?
Exactly.
This.
Not getting focused.
Okay. I got it. Found it.
But if you don't have the app beforehand, we have a QR code on the station. You can scan the QR code and it'll direct you directly to the app store. or Google Play to download it either on iOS and Android. Once you have your profile set up, all you have to do is find the station that you're at, whether it's Key Biscayne or one of our other locations, and select one of the boards within the station. At which point it's going to prompt you to unlock the board. The phone will connect to the board, and once it's connected, you can unlock it.
Got it. Okay, great. And then I can just, I'm sure it's fairly easy to unlock it and then use it and put it back.
Exactly.
Awesome. So tell me about your growth. I know from our pre-podcast conversations that you guys have been growing super fast.
Yeah. So at the end of last summer, we had 2 stations. Since then, we've launched another 9, and this month alone, we'll be opening another 11 locations.
Wow.
So it's been a wild ride. It's been amazing. Just working with different parties in the state. If you check out our other locations, what I really love is just the different environments that you get to experience. So if you paddle out of Key Biscayne, you have a beach launch. It's unbelievable in terms of what you can see on the wildlife. But even if you drive up an hour north to Boynton Beach, our location there is in the intercoastal in Palm Beach. We have locations in Juno Beach and Jupiter. Each one of these locations are intercoastal with different environments. And then once you get a little further north into Clay County and Lake Butler, it's a whole different world. I mean, you're paddling on the St. Johns River, freshwater environment. There's lily pads everywhere. I mean, the backdrop of the scenery is just something that you want to film a movie in. It's gorgeous. And being able to really share these different types of environments, from beaches to intercoastal areas to lakes to rivers, it's just really an unbelievable experience to really see all these locations.
When would be a good time to paddle? Like, if I want the ultimate experience, checking the weather, as you mentioned, I need to check the weather to make sure it's a nice, smooth.
Definitely. So low winds are the best days.
Low wind day. And what is low wind?
Anything below 10 miles an hour is good. Anything below 7 miles an hour is great.
Okay, so below 10 miles is good, but below 7 miles is great. And time of the day?
I love the morning and sunrises and sunsets. With sunrise and sunset, you're going to get to see the most marine life. Everything's just really active. Not to mention just the sun coming up or going down provides a great backdrop.
Okay. So when you mean morning, is like around, you want to be on the water around sunrise. You want the sun to rise while you're on the water.
I like to be able to see personally. So once you can see, that's going to be the best
time. Okay. Okay, cool. All right. So now we know if we want to try paddling, we want to try to hit 7 miles an hour winds or below, and either do sun up or sun down.
That's perfect. You'll have a great experience.
Let's talk about popularity. I normally don't do a lot of water sports. Maybe I should, maybe I will. But one thing I have noticed, because I do go out and I do walk by the beach all the time, I feel like, and then my personal friends, one of my roommates got a paddle once. So I think it's growing in popularity, paddling.
No, most definitely. And I mean, I'll segue into this, but I mean, in the US alone, there's over 35 million annual participants in the sport. So there's a ton of demand. A lot of people really want to get outside and on the water. And for the most part, they're just not able to. I mean, a lot of people experience paddling for the first time when they're on vacation. But when they return home, they don't have the means to own, operate, store, transport this equipment that, I mean, is for the most part 10 feet long or more.
I mean, it's pretty big.
Yeah, the equipment's massive, so it's just not something that you really want to store in your apartment or anything like that. And by providing accessibility, not only do we really open up the sport to people who would ever, otherwise not have taken part in it or continued to take part in it, but we also create access just to a wide range of different environments. By doing that, you show people that by getting out on the water, you're able to see so many different areas. I mean, for example, you look at Jupiter, Burt Reynolds Park is one of our locations. If you show up to that park, all you see is a lot of green space and a boat. You would otherwise not know that anything is there. But the second you launch from the paddle launch at the park, you almost feel like you just jet set it into the Keys. You're surrounded by mangroves. You're in very tiny, narrow paths that are awesome to paddle through, and you just have a ton of marine life up there.
I mean, I can envision people like this motivating travel across Florida, knowing that now you could do paddle somewhere else and you don't have to take your stuff. You don't have to own a paddle board. And you know that the paddle system is allowing you to access places, like you said, that normally you would not be able to have access to.
Yeah. So we've actually found a few of our riders that travel throughout the state and actually check out all of our locations. And they've paddled in Key Biscayne, they've paddled in the Keys, they've paddled in Palm Beach and Vero Beach, and even all the way up to Clay County over by Jacksonville. So we do have people that are riding with us through the state, and they're going to keep checking out these very cool environments.
Cool. Have you personally gone to all the locations? Because
I have. I've paddled every single one.
and you say you had one of your co-founders that makes the stands, right?
Yeah, so it's really all of us. We've been building these things since day one, and it's actually with all of our employees and everybody on the team. One of the first things you do is build a station. One of the stations that are going out, so you learn every component, you learn how everything works, and you can really support customers on every angle.
Talk to me about your team. Co-founders is more than two, right?
Yeah, so my
Who are
co-founders
they,
is,
and how do you guys divide the responsibilities, and who are they?
so being a startup, we all wear many, many hats.
Yeah.
Everyone's in sales, everyone's in customer support, and it's nonstop. But when you really look at our key backgrounds, my partner Felipe Jauregui, he has a strong background in operations, really assisting us as in having so many stations throughout the state. We have station partners at these locations that work with us that act as our local brand ambassadors and boots on the ground. So if somebody ever has an issue, one of the station partners will actually go and assist them on site. In addition to that, they also really promote paddle and let people know that there's a new amenity in town. My other partner, Khalil Khouri, he is probably the smartest guy in the room. So he's engineer, graduated from Columbia with an engineering degree, a master's in engineering and specialization in robotics. He's worked on unmanned vehicles for Boeing, underwater vehicles. So when it came to waterproofing and the electronics that we put into the board, he was the right guy for the job. And myself, I come from the cruise industry. My background is strategic planning, finance, and now with paddle, it's been a little bit of everything from fundraising to sales to building and anything.
And that's how it is. That is the life. That is the beautiful life of entrepreneurship, where you are in the middle of the mayhem, and it's good stuff. It's good problems, good situations. You're targeting the pain points. You're responding to the demand of people using your stuff. It's the fun part. It's the beautiful part of growing your business.
No, and we're at the most fun stage now when I mean, every day is a roller coaster, but in a good way. Every day you think that your day starts off one way, but then the next minute you're in Palm Beach or on the other side of the state, you're opening a new location, and it's a beautiful experience.
Congratulations. Congrats as an entrepreneur from the past and still at heart, and will eventually one day do something. Congratulations, because it's a beautiful place to be. So, and you have a great product here, and I'm glad that it's a Key Biscayne startup. So,
no, thank you so much.
No, my pleasure. So, tell me a little bit about the structure of. You said that sales, right? So, what does that mean?
So our sales is really broken up into two different areas. You have sales on new locations and really on the growth into new markets, into new cities, and then also on a per location basis. So really looking at, I mean, the way that it starts is really speaking to customers as a step one. So at each location that we launch, we speak to customers, see how their ride was, see what they liked, what they didn't like, and use that as part of our growth strategy to provide the best product available. The major driver of our growth is really people that are frequenting these parks. They see the boards and they just kind kind of out of curiosity, give it a try. And then what we've seen is that 67% of our customers actually ride again. So we have a really strong repeat rate. People love the convenience of the product. Obviously, we've had some pain points along the way, but we're constantly evolving, constantly solving, and constantly improving everything.
Awesome. And do you have like a handful of business models, or are they all like profit sharing with the location or the municipalities? Because not every location is a municipally run area, or is it?
No, so we've partnered with municipalities as well as private partners such as hotels and resorts. We're also now expanding into working with other concessions where we'll be launching, for example, in Orlando this month with someone who is already an operator, but they don't want to manage the water sport business anymore, and they're handing it off. And still, it's under a revenue share agreement where we own and operate the equipment. But as we move forward and look into new markets, we will be exploring a different model. Really, one where local operators can purchase the equipment and manage it.
I know that we're running out of time, and I thank you for your time and sharing your story. I have one more question for you. What is your favorite part of paddle?
So my favorite part just has to be watching our riders get out on the water. Being able to go to the beach, seeing people using it, and having a great time with their families. There's no more rewarding experience than that. It shows that all the work that we've put into this is really benefiting other people and allowing them to have a great experience. We're very different than mobility. We're not trying to get you from point A to point B. We're really trying to get you out on the water and have a great time. And being able to see that there is really top.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Hey, Andres, thank you so much for sharing your story. Again, congratulations on the startup here in Key Biscayne. We're glad to have you and that we were your first. And, you can go as kind of like community.
Thank you so much, Alejandro. I really appreciate it.